Welcome back to the Popped Podcast, where we uncover real, raw, and rarely discussed truths about pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Muery, prenatal and postpartum chiropractor, birth doula, and founder of Move Moms at Move Chiropractic Boulder. Happy Mother's Day, happy Mother's Week, happy Mother's Month, year, all the time, happy Mother's time, happy Mother Journey, happy Motherhood. In preparation of this episode with Mother's Day leading up and happening right before this episode is released, I was looking for some poems, some different sentimental letters, whatever, not only for this episode, but to send to my own mom. And after I'd because my mom was out of town this weekend, I had written her a card and sent her a couple poems. I actually found this really cool video that's not specifically a poem. It was just a TikTok of a woman speaking to mothers around the world, and I wanted to share what she shared. So, if you are a mom and you just had a Mother's Day, wherever you are in the world, I just want you to know that you are worth more than one day. So much more than one day. You are someone's everyday. You are someone's constant. You are someone's unwavering support. You're the behind the scenes, you're the cheerleader, you're on the sidelines, you're absolutely everywhere you need to be, and it doesn't stop. It never stops. Not for one day, not for 2 days, never. Even when those kids have outgrown your home, even when those kids have got their own kids, it doesn't stop. I hope you know how cherished you are. I hope you know how valued you are. I hope you know how seen you are. I hope you know how strong you are. I hope you know how much you're giving. I hope you know you're an amazing mom, and you deserve way more than one day. I truly believe that. You guys, all the moms out there, you deserve so much more than one day for all the work, all the unseen, all the unheard, all the untalked about things that you go through and that you do for your family and for your children. And so I just want to acknowledge that. Happy Mother's Day, but it's just not one day. It really is all the time. You really do deserve to be celebrated for all that you do all the time and not just one day a year. But let's get into this episode. I'm so excited for this episode. I've been talking about this episode all week with patients leading up to it, and just getting everybody's different ideas and what they experienced or what they think their babies experienced during that initial postpartum time. So this episode is going to be all about baby's perspective in the fourth trimester. So imagine you're floating in warmth, nourishment, total safety, and then immediately brought into bright lights, cold air, and hunger. Imagine feeling never alone, and then suddenly, sometimes you're alone. This is the newborn experience. And I want to talk a lot more about just that feeling of being out in the world, but actually what's going on in their body, how they're perceiving the world, and what they're starting to experience or starting to absorb in these first couple weeks. So what is the fourth trimester really? We've talked about it before, but from baby's point of view, they are not done growing yet. They're saying, Mom, I'm not done growing yet. I still need a womb. I just happen to be outside of it now. So human babies are born neurologically underdeveloped. The first 12 weeks are like an external pregnancy for the baby, and honestly, for the mom. You might not expect that, but you might experience that those first 12 weeks where you're like, holy moly, we're Velcro together. That is super common. That is super normal. That is exactly what baby wants. That's what's really neurologically necessary for a baby to continue to grow those immediate 12 weeks out of the womb. They still need womb-like conditions, so warmth, softness, and responsiveness. That's why a lot of times they cry. They cry for small little things because they're used to being able to call your body for that need and immediately get it, or kick you or shift you and tell you like, hey, I need to move, whatever it is, and get that response. Now their way to get you to respond to them is to cry, or they try to signal you. You don't necessarily yet know that signal, or you're tuning to those signals and you don't quite get their first signal, so they cry. A lot of times, though, those signals are just cries. There's lots of different cries that babies give for different things that they need, whether it's food, bathroom, etc. If you're a parent and you are feeling like, holy moly, my baby never wants to let go of me, you are not doing it wrong. This is what baby wants all day. They're doing exactly what nature designed them to do, which is to be close and to be held and to be cared for and to be comforted and nurtured for a lot longer than we typically expect babies need. So let's talk about baby going from the womb all the way into the world. What a shocking transition that is for their system, but what is neurologically natural and what's designed to happen. So from baby's point of view, they're asking, where's that swaying? Where's that heartbeat? Everything's so loud and so bright. I don't understand this world, but I recognize you, mom. You're the only thing that feels familiar. So inside the womb, everything was constant and predictable for baby. The warmth, the sound, any rhythmic movement that mom had, repetitive, maybe like 7 a.m. she gets in the car to drive to work and we know that we're sitting, and then 30 minutes later she's going to walk to get to her desk or whatever it is. These small little repetitions in your daily life actually become really familiar for baby in that movement sense, in that waking sense, food, light, loudness, whatever it is that that they experience in the womb during and throughout your pregnancy. What else are they looking for? That nourishment on demand, containment, and warmth. Birth is a full body sensory event for them. Light, air, cold, noise, hunger, gravity, all happens at once. They experience it all at once. That's a lot of new experiences to be feeling at once. Obviously, some of these aren't the same, but if we think about like an astronaut going up into space, then coming back to the earth, like feeling a new gravity, experiencing new food, experiencing new light, like there's just a lot of new stimulation that the body hasn't experienced in quite some time. So it has to learn to readapt and get used to its new environment. However, babies, they've never experienced that before. So they need a lot longer time to adapt and absorb these new earthly experiences that they haven't experienced inside the womb. For your baby, everything is brand new, whether it's the surface that they're touching or the smell that they're sniffing or a sound of silence, because they're so used to the whooshing of your blood vessels and your lungs pumping in and around their womb 24/7. Yet they recognize you. No matter what, they recognize you, your voice, your scent, your energy. They're all very familiar to your baby. So you are going to be their anchor through a sea of change. They really need something familiar in order for them to adapt and for them to absorb all these new things in their life. That familiar source is always going to be mom. It's not that dad hasn't done anything wrong or right or is not participating. It's just that baby is used to mom. It will take time for baby to adapt and get used to dad. And at this point, your baby isn't expecting anything from you at all. They're not expecting perfection. They're not expecting sleep schedules or perfect routine days or responsiveness all the time or answers to what's going on in their body. They're just looking for your presence. Your presence is comforting enough and it helps them regulate to all of these new things so that they can become and start to become more comfortable with all of these new things. So no matter what I go through in all of my episodes, what I go through in this episode, if you take nothing else from me, please remember that your presence as a mother is enough. It is more than enough. It is the only thing that your baby and your children are truly looking for from their parent. And so when you show up just yourself, you're not trying to do anything, you just show up as you, you're already the best, most perfect thing for your baby. You do not have to do anything specific or special or different than other parents. My mom texted me earlier this week, and I'm not really sure why she asked me this. Maybe she was writing a card for her mom because she's visiting her this weekend, but she texted me and said, "What makes a good mom?" She texted me and my brother in a group text, what makes a good mom? I was like, I don't know. You? That was the only answer that I had. You make a good mom. But just you, whatever you do. And I'm 28. And if I feel that way at 28, just knowing that my mom just being herself is the best type of mom I could have ever asked for, that's what your baby believes, and that's what they will carry through for the rest of their life. So that was just a little moment where I got to tap in and be like, wow, even 28 years later, my mom is still my safe space. Just her being herself is the best thing in the world. So I know that is true for so many people. So if you're ever worried about how you're parenting, what you're doing, if you're doing it right, you are. Just being you is plenty enough, and maybe that's not the same for everybody, but I truly do believe your presence of your natural, raw, authentic self is truly enough for your baby. I'm sorry if that section was so redundant. Let's move on. We have proximity equals safety. So kind of going off what we were just talking about, baby doesn't know how to be on their own. So they don't even know that they are not part of you. Their point of view is, I don't know where I end and you begin. I don't even know if I'm separate from you yet. All I know is that when I'm close to you, everything feels right again. Babies are just a little extension of you for at least that first 12 weeks. That's what they perceive. They just think you and them are the same being. That's why they're calling for you. That's what they always want you. That's why they want to be connected to you. When they feel separate from you, they feel like they're missing a piece of them. In your womb, your baby was never alone. So, not even for a single moment. So being held, rocked, surrounded by rhythms, heartbeat, breath, noise, all of those things can really help baby feel and adapt into the new world while feeling like they're still in that womb-like state. After birth, any sudden separation can feel really disorienting, even painful for some babies. Their nervous system is not developed enough to understand space or time apart from you. They don't know that you'll be back or that they're not alone if they're not touching you. A lot of times they just feel absence. They feel empty. They feel like a big piece of them is missing. So from your baby's perspective, when you're near, I can breathe better. I can digest easier. My heartbeat slows. My body relaxes. Being close to you feels like home. This is why skin to skin and baby wearing is so important. They're not just soothing, and contact naps too. They're not just soothing, they're relaxing. They're really calming. They're really regulating for not only baby's nervous system, but also your nervous system. Your presence stabilizes their entire physiology. Mostly. If you're unregulated, if you are in a high stimulated state or an extremely low stimulated state where it's really hard to stimulate you, that can negatively affect baby and start to bring them into those really deep lows or high highs. And we want to make sure that baby is finding that constant rhythm. So if you are not regulated, it can be difficult for baby to regulate from you. We've talked about that in lots of other episodes, so go back and watch them. But being held is not a luxury for your baby. It is a biological expectation and need. So don't feel like you are always picking up your baby or like your baby is never going to become independent. It is a need for your baby, especially in those first 12 weeks, to be held, cared for, and touched a lot. It really helps them to adapt into their own bodies after that 12-week initial period, postpartum. Your baby does not need you to be energetic, cheerful, or always on. They just need you to be there. They just need you to be with them and present. Your presence is not only enough for them, it's everything. So co-regulation and emotional safety go together. For baby's point of view, they're thinking, I don't know how to feel calm on my own yet. I don't even know what calm is. But when I'm close to you, your body feels steady and mine starts to feel steady too. Your baby isn't born with the ability to regulate stress, emotions, or even basic physiological processes like pooping. That's why a lot of these things early on were like, oh my gosh, is my baby not, is there something wrong with my baby? Or they're not able to poop. They're spitting up all the time. They're waking up every time I said, whatever it is, all these different things. A lot of times babies need help to engage or go through these physiological processes or these really natural occurrences that we experience every day. The poop one really sticks with me because all the time parents come in, they're like, something's wrong with my baby. They haven't pooped in XYZ days. There's nothing wrong with your baby, but they do sometimes need help transitioning into their own physiological processes, not so regulated or stimulated by mom's physiological processes. So when they're feeding multiple times throughout the day and they need a poop multiple times throughout the day, if you aren't pooping multiple times throughout the day, there might be a couple times throughout the day where they're getting really frustrated, they're grunting, it seems like they're constipated. They need help getting that poop out. That's why we work and go through these birth classes and new parent classes to help work out poop, to help them spit up, to get rid of trapped gas, all these different things. Baby truly needs help learning how to do these first couple months so that their body starts to take notes. If you haven't read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, it's one of the best books ever. That statement rings true for everything in the body, including pregnancy, postpartum, and the postpartum period for baby. The body keeps the score. So when the body gets to experience very natural regulation and gets help to do certain physiological processes, the body starts keeping score and track of how to do those things so that it can continue to do it by itself in the future, or get better at doing it by itself so that it can do it all on its own in the future. Your body is really smart and it is super adaptive as long as we give it the option to do so. So get your baby adjusted. That's where they are able to maintain in that adaptive state. But their systems are learning all the time how to overcome new obstacles, how to become more human like we are at this point, or just how to work the world, how to work their bodies, how to use their bodies. So they learn how to regulate by syncing to the rhythm of your nervous system, your breath, your tone, your energy. That is co-regulation. If your nervous system is grounded, it gives a blueprint for baby on how to feel safe in their body and in their nervous system. If your nervous system is overwhelmed, it's really hard for them to find stability, even if you're physically present. So as much as I just talked about, like, even if you feel like you're not doing it right, your presence is enough. A regulated presence. Your presence is enough, but it's your regulated presence that really helps baby to start regulating their presence, their nervous system, their ways of life. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. Your presence is enough. Just make sure that your presence is a regulated presence. And honestly, it's okay if you can't tell if your system is regulated or not. If you're asking yourself, am I regulated? Is my nervous system regulated? If you have to ask yourself that question, it's probably not regulated. The way to regulate your nervous system is to get adjustments, chiropractic adjustments regularly. It's like keeping your teeth clean. The way to keep your teeth clean and to keep cavities gone is to see your dentist regularly. Yes, those regular appointments are much further apart, but everything in the world has different maintenance times, right? Like we clean our sink once a week, but do you clean the blinds once a week? Maybe that's every other week. There's different maintenance protocols for different things that we do in our life. Your spine houses your nervous system. Your nervous system regulates everything in and out through your body. That nervous system and the spine that houses that nervous system has to be regulated frequently so that it can stay regulated frequently. It has to be regulated all the time, but for it to be regulated all the time, it has to be adjusted frequently in order to stay regulated. So I always get on these little tangents with chiropractic, but this is why I am a chiropractor. This is why I stand so firmly in consistent chiropractic care and the benefits that it provides, not just your body, but your entire family. It's really going to affect how your baby's acting. How your baby's acting is going to affect how your husband's able to support you and your baby. We want to make sure that we are creating a really safe environment for all families, not just through their environment, but through their body environment. Your body is just as much as an environment for your brain and your nervous system as everything else in your home. And now back on the other side, I'm not saying that you have to be calm all the time, because nobody is. Have you ever met somebody that I am saying that and I'm like thinking of a few people that are calm all the time? But there's very, very, very few people who are calm all the time. And even those people, I bet they get angry sometimes. But not everybody's calm all the time, so I'm not expecting you to be calm all the time or saying that you need to figure out how to be calm all the time. But this just means that your regulations matters more than your actions or your words. If you are feeding your baby every 4 hours, if that's your guys' schedule, every 4 hours, but every 4 hours you're stressed about getting them to latch in the position, and are they getting enough, and are you timing the feed and starting it, but they came off, do I need to stop it? When we add all this stress and we're not necessarily just in the rhythm of being a mom, it can start to dysregulate your baby and their ability to start regulating into your guys' new schedule. So everything works together. If mom's regulated, typically baby's regulated. You're not always going to be regulated. That's why it's important to get adjusted all the time. And all the time, I'm meaning just consistent chiropractic adjustments, whether that's for you once a week, twice a week, every other week, once a month. Everybody's different. Talk to your chiropractor, come see me. Right now, your baby's only language is crying. And it's not a test. It's just an invitation for you to check in with their nervous system and where regulation is needed for them. A lot of times it's that they need to eat, or that they need a new diaper, or that they just need to be held. So cries do not always mean something's wrong with baby or they're upset. They're just inviting you to come check out their nervous system and regulate it with your nervous system. They're asking for mom's regulation. They just want presence. They want to feel good. They want to be regulated. And so they're just calling you in to ask for that regulation. One last piece on this section for parents. Your nervous system is the most important parenting tool that you can have. It's not about having the right answer or the bottle ready or the diaper ready or a warm changing table or being able to buy your baby the next big toy. A lot of times it's just about creating the right internal state for them or for yourself. And then they can regulate and they are feeling a lot better. It's okay if you are feeling dysregulated, but let's find at least one tool that can help you find that regulation or at least some calmness and peace in the moment until you can get back to that regulation. So a lot of times regulation, it does not look perfect. Sometimes it just looks like taking a deep breath after a really frustrated moment, or letting some tears come out, shaking it off, running some cold water over your face. If feeding feels like a lot for you right now, one thing I tell a lot of moms to do to find some peace in themselves every time that they go to feed is to place one hand over their chest or their heart and take one breath to remind themselves that they are here for themselves too, not just feeding for a baby. Your baby they want to feed, but they do want to be close to you. They're looking for your comfort. And so if you can feel comfortable in your body and take just a second to remind yourself that you're not just doing this just for your baby, you are doing this for both of you. A lot of times it can bring you back down to that grounded state and refresh the moment that you're feeling in that or refresh the experience that you're feeling in that moment. Going off all of this, the reason why I say this is because a lot of parents, when I ask them, have you been able to check in with your nervous system? How's your nervous system feeling? A lot of times they're like, I don't even know how to check in with my nervous system. What do I ask? Ask the universe? Yes, you can ask the universe if you feel that aware and that in tune to universal answers and responses. However, a lot of times we don't have the time or the space to experience those universal responses, even if you do want to ask the universe, am I regulated? So I came up with this little acronym that you can put together or that you can use for moments when you need to check in with your nervous system. And the acronym is PAUSE. Use the word pause. I was trying to find different acronyms that would work with, that would be easy to recall for any mom in any situation or whatever they're doing. And the one that I keep coming back to is pause, because I feel like at any moment when something's going too crazy, you can think to yourself, pause, take a moment, pause. So let's go through what pause means. When you are aware of what's happening in your body, you're better equipped to regulate and guide your baby back to that regulation for them. So P is posture. Check your posture. What's your body doing right now? Are you tensed? Are you slouched? Are you clenching? Soften one of the areas. So I tell a lot of patients in our office when they come in for new patient exams, and most people are sitting at their desk most of the days. If you're sitting in this hunched over position, I'll show you from the side, like hunched over typing position throughout most of your day, that's very similar to what the prenatal body is going to naturally do to prepare for motherhood. Your body's naturally slouching over, flexing over so that you can be prepared to be a mom. But that position in the body is the same position you would get into for a fight, flight, freeze situation. That's an emergency situation. So when your body's in that slouched position, your body is actually falsely sending fight or flight signals up to your brain. Emergency response, survival mode, survival mode, survival mode. It's not super easy to be calm and regulated when your body thinks you're running from a bear, right? So a lot of times posture is the single thing that is keeping people from being in that parasympathetic or that rest, calm, digest state. So check your posture. What's your posture doing? A lot of feeding postures are often in that slouched position. I find a lot of moms getting into their restlessness, frustration, body discomfort, overstimulation through feeding. So if we can find different supportive postures, or even before and after feeds, finding some movement in our mid backs and throughout our chests, we can have a lot more access to that rest, digest, calm state. A is for air. Have you taken a deep breath lately? Try taking an intentional inhale and exhale through a window with some fresh air, something outside. If you're staying inside a lot of the time without moving air, that air feels stagnant and it can feel like yucky. We want that fresh air. We want our body to experience new oxygen, get fresh new nutrients coming in through the body. So posture, air. U is for unwind. Can you release something? Your jaw, your grip, your breath, rock gently, stretch, or pause. So stop, check your posture, take a big, deep breath, and then try to relax something in your body. A lot of times I find moms' jaws are really tight, specifically because they're breastfeeding or feeding their babies with a bottle with their necks down. This neck down position, similar to everything I talked about with the fight or flight posture in your body, that position puts a lot of stress at the very top of your brainstem and the top of your spinal cord where your brainstem sits. That is going to start sending a lot of fight or flight responses, and it's going to start to tighten up the muscles in and around your jaw. Right by your brainstem, those first two segments of your spine, they connect to the muscles of your jaw. So when there's a lot of tension at the very top of the spine, just from looking down and working with baby a lot, there starts to be a lot of tension in the front of the face, in and around that jaw. So try to relax your shoulders or your jaw. And then senses. What is happening around you? Is there too much light? Is there too much noise? Is there too much stimulation? Can you soften the environment? A lot of times you can just turn off the lights, or close some blinds. Just bring the lighting down just a little bit. If you have the TV on or music on or somebody's talking, maybe find a quiet room. Turn off the music, turn off the TV, and just sit in that silence and allow your body to go through these steps to start to regulate. And then we have emotions. What are you feeling emotionally? Just name it. You don't have to fix it in that moment, but if you're able to name it and be aware of it and witness it, it's there. It's not just something that's being pushed under the rug. So we're having a stressful, heightened moment, whatever it is, you're feeling unregulated or you're about to feed or just something's feeling awry. And you're like, okay, let's pause. What's my posture doing? It doesn't mean you have to sit up straight, but find your posture. What's my posture doing? Have I taken a deep breath? What can I release or unwind? Senses. Can I turn off any lights? Can I sit in a different spot? Can I change position? Can I put on some aromatherapy? And then emotions. What am I feeling right now? I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling unsupported. Whatever it is, name it so that you can talk about it to somebody, even if it's not in that moment. Every time you take a second to pause is another chance for your baby to become more regulated with you. This pause is not just for you. This can also be for baby. A lot of times we put babies in car seats because we have to go places. Guess what? A car seat mimics that curved position at a desk. They're already in that fight or flight experience. So we want to make sure, a lot of times I tell our moms at the office, put a little burp cloth under their neck so that they have some extension, at least by their head and their brainstem. They get overstimulated too. They get frustrated if they're waiting in their crib to be picked up, whatever it is. We want to assess their posture, maybe put them in a new position, give them some fresh air, try to take some deep breaths of air outside. Maybe they're not taking deep breaths because they don't know how to, but let them take some natural outside breaths in. Help them soften their body. You can give them a little back massage, a little shoulder massage, keep touching them, that skin-to-skin contact. Maybe turning off the lights, maybe turning off any noise that could be continuously stimulating them, or taking them into a quiet room. And then checking out with their emotions. Are they truly sad? Are they truly frustrated? Are they asking for something? Because a lot of times they're not actually mad or sad at you. They are asking for you. So a lot of times their emotions aren't these breakout emotions, these big, sad alligator tears. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times they're just trying to ask for something or ask for your presence. So use pause, posture, air, unwind, senses, emotions. Write it down, use it a few times today, and it'll start to stick in your body so that you can use it more frequently. And all that to say, you don't have to be calm all the time. I've said it before. It's just not realistic. Not everybody's calm all the time. But if you have just one tool to get yourself back to that calm state, or at least a more aware state, it can be really game changer for you and your baby and your guys' ability to adapt together and continue to bond and grow your relationship together. So some sensory overload and integration for baby, since everything is new for them, their point of view is everything is big. The lights, the sounds, the space. Sometimes I cry just because it's so much. There's just lots of newness. Your baby is experiencing the world with an unfiltered nervous system. They don't know how to see something and log it away in their body as information. They're just experiencing a lot all at once. So for them, it can feel like a fire hydrant of water coming out, and they're trying to drink from a straw to get all the information. It's a lot. They can't tune out any extra stimulus. They don't have the ability to tune things out like we are. If you go to a restaurant and you're sitting there and 2 tables back, I'm saying this because this is me and I can't tune people out sometimes. If someone 2 tables behind you is eating chips and salsa, a lot of times you can tune them out so that you're not listening to them eat and talk, right? But sometimes if they're really loud or overstimulating, that's all you can hear. That's baby. Baby can hear everything all the time, everywhere. We want to make sure that their stimulus is somewhat regulated, or that they're at a state in their own growth and development where they can regulate that sound. The first couple times it's going to be a little bit of a shock, and that's okay. Baby needs some of those bigger obstacles to get over so that they can grow, adapt, and move into bigger environments, bigger groups of people, events, stuff like that. So from baby's perspective, I don't know how to tell you that I'm overstimulated, so I just show you. I squirm, I cry, I turn away, I stop feeding. If you notice that your baby is doing any of these, where they're constantly squirming, they're constantly crying, or they're turning away from you, they don't want to look at you, or they just won't feed, they won't focus on feeding, a lot of times it's because they are overstimulated, whether it's from sound, light, texture, whatever it is. A lot of times if they are overstimulated, you can see those signs and know, oh my gosh, there's too much going on in here. They just cannot focus. They can't focus on one thing. So sensory overload doesn't mean something's wrong with your baby. It just means that your baby's system is getting maxed out on how much they're able to take in and do. Their tolerance builds over time, but in early days and early weeks, simple is soothing. That doesn't mean you don't need to have anybody come over to your house or have your house dead silent, but it does take time for baby to adapt to more stimulus put together over time. So take them through that nice progression. Taking them immediately to a graduation party might be really stimulating for a fresh new baby. That might be a lot. And on that note, parents, you do not have to be buying tons of fancy toys or spinning mobiles to entertain your baby. They're learning from everything around them, every noise, every time you talk, every time you show them something new. They're absorbing and learning from all these new things, not just from the educational toy that Aunt Sharon got them for their baby shower, whatever it is. Signs of sensory overload for babies: jerky movements or clenched fists, crying that escalates quickly, turning head away from eye contact, refusing to latch or pushing off during feeding, yawning, sneezing, or hiccups. Signs of overload. Those are kind of fun, at least something to keep track of if you're watching your baby go through some of these, so that you can bring it to practitioners, or at least bring some awareness to your own self. How to support them. Like we just said, dim lights, soft voices, reduce the visual clutter. If there's a lot going on visually, it's going to be a lot for them to look at, and they're not going to be able to focus on just your face. Wear your baby in a wrap to reduce stimulation while keeping them close. Try skin to skin or a warm bath to reset their nervous system if you're noticing that your baby, or not even noticing, if you know that you guys have just had a very stimulating day, that might be the night for bath night to really bring everybody's nervous systems back down to a regulated state. You can co-bathe with them, co-nap, whatever it is that you want to do. Limit visitors or passing the baby around during cluster feeds or fussy evenings. So again, this does not mean don't take your baby to your family holiday. This just means if your baby's already in a frustrated, fussy state, they've had less sleep that day, or their nap was cut short, whatever it is, if you already know that your baby's nervous system is already going to be just a little bit depleted from previous experiences that day or that night. Keep that in mind when going to events or when you meet somebody or somebody's like, hey, can I hold your baby? Maybe be thoughtful about how much more stimulus that baby's going to get that day so that we don't further their dysregulation. The less input that baby receives, the more their nervous system can organize and process the world. Sometimes peace and quiet is the best for developmental stability and activity. There's definitely a teeter-totter of playing this game of finding out what your baby can handle and what's too stimulating for them and what more they can handle this week, but this was a little bit too stimulating for them. It is a dance and you will totally figure it out. It just takes time. Don't feel bad if you end up going to like the farmer's market and like that was too much for your baby. It's okay. You're going to learn. You have to have these learning experiences to know what stimulus is great for your baby and what's not. It just takes time to learn, and every parent and every baby is so different. So moving on to reflexes and primitive movements. Baby's point of view for these are that my body does things that I don't understand yet. I flinch, I grasp, I turn my head, but I am not in control. These movements are how I survive and grow. At birth, your baby's equipped with ideally, all the primitive reflexes that they need, such as suckling, the Muery reflex, stuff like that. But these reflexes help your baby feed, bond, move, and make sense of the world. So think like the rooting reflex helps your baby find the breast. We have the grasp reflex where they wrap their little fingers around yours, or the Muery reflex that helps them fling their arms out when they get startled or when they think they're falling. From baby's perspective, these movements may look random, but they're my way of adapting to the new world. Each time I kick, reach, turn my head, I'm learning where I am and how I relate to everything around me. For the first few months, your baby's brain begins to integrate these reflexes, meaning that they are gradually shifting from womb reflexes and womb autonomic needs to earthly reflexes and earthly autonomic needs with intentional movements. So our autonomic reflexes that we have in the womb obviously help us get ready to come out of the womb. Autonomic reflexes on earth are reflexes to help us feed, to help us bond, to help us sleep, to help us feel safe, all of these things. So as these reflexes integrate to their bodies and they start to learn more around the world, they do start to slowly go away. If a reflex doesn't integrate well, it can show up later in their life as tension, either with feeding challenges, delayed motor development. I'll give my own. I still experience it to this day. So when I was born, my mom chose not to breastfeed because of the work that she was doing at that time. We did not have the convenience of being able to breastfeed and for her to work. So I was a bottle baby. Well, with the bottle baby, the nipple of the bottles would go far enough back into my mouth that it really didn't matter what my tongue was doing. I was getting the milk. Well, fun fact, Dr. Emily has a tongue tie. If you're watching the YouTube, you get to see maybe I shouldn't do this on YouTube. I won't stick out my tongue. How about that? I'm going to leave it in. Just so you know, my tongue is really short, and my frenulum, the thing on the bottom of your tongue that kind of holds your tongue in. If you lift your tongue up, you can see it. It's that line in the middle. My frenulum is really close to the front and it's really short. So my tongue does not stick out very far. So when I try to latch my tongue to the top of my roof to keep my mouth closed at night for nose breathing, I can't. I start to feel like I'm suffocating. So I'm working on that now. But stuff like that can slowly lead into small tension patterns that become that person or that baby's normal for the rest of their life. And then they become a chiropractor and find out all the fun things about their body. And I'm like, Mom, I had a tongue tie. We didn't do anything to release my tongue tie. We didn't go to a chiropractor. We didn't go to a myofascial therapist, nothing. But she didn't know because I was bottle fed and the nipple was just far enough back in my mouth. Side note, if your baby has a tongue tie, take them to a chiropractor. A lot of times they just need some tension release before we need to do the whole snip or the laser. So moving on, how can you support integration of these reflexes for your baby? Tummy time. Even short stents on your chest where you're inclined back and baby's laying on your chest, that can help baby explore movement against gravity. Slow intentional movement like swaying, baby massage, baby wearing promotes baby calmness and awareness. This one I know is really different for everybody. Some babies do not like different specific carriers, and then moms don't carry their babies anymore. This is my encouragement to you. If your baby doesn't like, quote unquote, doesn't like being carried, find a new carrier. A lot of times it's the carrier. They like specific textures, smells, feels against your body, but they want to be near your body. So find a way to wear your baby. If you're constantly carrying your baby, a lot of times you don't have access to your arms and it starts to get funky on your spine. So wear your baby. It is culturally not as prevalent anymore, but it's in our ancient ancestors are wearing babies. It's really only 3 or 4 generations ago, wearing babies all the time, front, back, for years. Baby wearing. That is the go-to. So it doesn't have to be your go-to, but the more that you start to incorporate it, the more it can help your baby integrate all these different reflexes. And then chiropractic care and craniosacral therapy. These both can gently support your baby's nervous system. They can help you support your nervous system so that they can regulate more in a more connected fashion. One of the things that we talk about in chiropractic school is the first subluxation being birth. Pretty interesting thought, right? We think about a subluxation as a bad thing, which it's not always a bad thing. It's the way that our body integrates and takes stress and formulates it so that we can adapt and tolerate and keep moving through the world. But subluxation is, if you go to a dentist, they're looking for cavities. If you come to a chiropractor, we're looking for subluxations, and then we're going to help with said subluxations. Subluxation is a misalignment in the spine with nerve involvement, typically leading to symptoms that we try to patch up, such as tight muscles, and we try to roll them out. Well, guess what? You can roll out your muscles all day long, but if the misalignment with the nerve that tells that muscle to relax is still misaligned, that nerve is never going to let that muscle relax. So that goes for everything in the body. Your body has to have access to regulation through the nervous system and through the spine. The spine is the only way for your nervous system to speak to the rest of your body. It's the only way. So why wouldn't we constantly take care of that one way? If your only way to get to work was the subway system, but the subway system was broken in 3 different parts or getting fixed or maintenance, how are you going to get to work? You're not. If that's your one way to get there. Your one way to express and experience all of life is through your nervous system, through your spine. So why are we not taking care of that single vehicle all of the time, from birth through end of life? Your spine is your vehicle through, yes, your body is your vehicle, but your spine is the engine that the vehicle needs in order to keep running. And we got to keep this vehicle running for a long time and for a lot of people, and more importantly, for our kids. So take care of your vehicle. Allow your baby's vehicle to be taken care of and start at its best, most functional state. Again, another tangent for chiropractic, because why not? You're listening to the Popped podcast. So let's talk about some of our babies that have higher needs and a higher sensitivity. Nothing's wrong with your baby if they are quote unquote needy or have high sensitivity to very specific senses or experiences in the world. There's nothing wrong with your baby. Absolutely nothing wrong with your baby. Because there are some babies that are going to cry more, they're going to sleep less, they're going to want more holding or feed more frequently or become startled more easily. These are our high needs babies, but there's nothing wrong with our high needs babies. We just need to find different ways to meet all of these different needs. Often, these are highly sensitive nervous systems. Again, nothing wrong with your baby, but it does mean that their nervous system is already highly stimulated and it needs to learn a low stimulation. Our high sensitivity babies, those are the ones that I'm like, hey, we should be getting adjusted frequently to maintain the sense of nervous system regulation in and around their body so that mom and dad can also be somewhat regulated. As much as I talk about parents regulating their babies, when we come across some of these high need babies, a lot of times their high needs is what's starting to unregulate the parent's nervous system. So for our high need babies, factors like fast or traumatic births, C-section, NICU stay, or prenatal stress can heighten the sensitivity of your baby's nervous system. These babies have a harder time settling into sleep, staying asleep, feeding smoothly, tolerating transitions like diaper changes, car rides, handoffs, stuff like that. For parents experiencing this with their babies, this is not because you're doing anything wrong. You didn't necessarily create this, and you're not missing any steps or things that you could be doing. Your baby's nervous system is just tuned up to extra loud. Here's how you can support them. Having some more predictability, knowing that your baby thrives on repetition and some sort of routine or schedule, doing feeding, movement, car rides, book reads, voices, or very specific rhythmical things that happen in your day. Having those happen at the same time every day for those first 12 weeks really helps your baby start to attune. Now, I say that lightly. The stricter the schedule, as soon as you step out of that schedule, it's going to create that disorientation for you and your baby. So with the stricter schedule, leave a little bit of flexibility where you're maybe 30 minutes off, 45, maybe an hour off. But reminding your baby and talking aloud like, hey, we're going to adapt to this day. It's going to be a little bit different because we're spending a little bit more time going to the chiropractor's office, or we're going to go also today, we're going to get to do an extra drive by grandma's house, which is going to take us 10 extra minutes in the car. And it's going to be okay because then we're going to get home, we're going to feed, and then we're going to take our nap. Whatever it is, having these vocal conversations with your baby, yeah, they're not necessarily hearing and understanding everything that you're saying, but you guys are going to start to create this more routine, flexible schedule that can be really familiar for both their nervous system and your nervous system. Boundaries with stimulation. Reduce the number of visitors, transitions, or noisy outings. So if you know that your parents are coming over to visit for the day, maybe have your friends come and visit the next day. If you are going to go to the zoo in the morning, maybe have a quiet afternoon planned at home. Try to find really good boundaries. If you guys are a TV family and you like to have the TV on, maybe only have the TV on for 1 hour a day and find that 1 hour where it works best or where it's out of baby's schedule, where they're asleep or they're not going to experience that noise. Starting to find boundaries around stimulation can be difficult because a lot of times we as adults don't have boundaries around our stimulation. If you do, awesome. If you don't, it's okay. You will learn, you will get there. It will take some time, but the more that you create these boundaries and actually stick to them, the more present you're going to be as a human and as a parent. And what did I say at the beginning of this episode? All your baby is looking for is your presence. So the more present you can be, the more regulated they're going to be, the more regulated you're going to be, the more regulated your home's going to be. presence is necessary. So let's set boundaries with how much time we're spending out of that sole one-on-one presence. Containment. Try swaddling. You can always try swaddling, baby wearing, or holding them close in a dark room. It's not always for every baby that swaddling is going to work. Some of our high needs babies, the swaddling is just one more extra stimulus that like sets them off. But for the most part, a lot of times that really soft, slightly cold, gentle fabric on their body really helps them to feel compressed in some tightness like they were in the womb. And that is home. That is, for a lot of babies with high needs, high sensitivity, helps them just to feel safe. And so it takes that high stimulation down immediately, because safety is the most balanced feeling that anybody can feel, right? So find containment for your baby. If containment doesn't work for your baby, maybe try these other ones that we're talking about. Last, I have support for you. Holding a baby who cries a lot can feel like failure. You are not a failure. There's nothing wrong with your baby. There's nothing wrong with you. But it can feel really frustrating and like you're failing. Holding a crying baby who cries a lot is sacred work. That is special work that it takes a lot out of a human. If you ever notice, if you go to family events or events where somebody else is holding your baby, if your baby starts to cry, notice how quickly that person will hand the baby back to you, because they don't know how to handle that overstimulation, but they expect that you do. Baby knows that you can regulate their nervous system, but a lot of times if you're always holding the crying baby, it can feel like you're not regulating them, but you are. A lot of times they do just need to be held by mom. Let others help you. Holding a crying baby all the time can feel like a lot. Let somebody else get your plate of food. Let somebody else draw your bath. Let somebody else go get dinner. Whatever it is, ask for help. Ask for help. If your baby is a high sensitivity, high needs baby and you need some help, you're not wrong for asking help, and you deserve to ask for help. You deserve to be helped. So this is my encouragement. I know it's not always easy to ask for help. I am one of the biggest culprits of that, not asking for help, but maybe we can all do a little better this week. Try to ask one other person for help for something, even if it seems super little, like, can you help me unload the dishwasher? Yeah, I challenge you to ask for help this week on something super easy and small that would feel like you don't need to ask for help, but it would actually help if somebody helped you. Third chiropractic side note for this episode: if you have a high needs, high sensitivity baby, take them to the chiropractor. This is the perfect patient to be seen at a chiropractic office. We are literally designed to regulate nervous systems. So if we have an hyperactive nervous system, a chiropractic adjustment is going to be able to meet them where they're at and bring them back to a balanced nervous system where they're able to experience both fight and flight experiences and rest and digest within their body. But you have to have a balance, or else you're highly stimulated or nothing's happening in life. We want to have that balance in between both. I'm here to be your advocate today. And I'm actually here more to be your baby's advocate. Your baby loves you more than anything in the world. You are perfect to them. You can be even more perfect when you're regulated so that they can regulate even better to you. You guys are already perfection. We want to keep that perfection. We don't want any random dysfunctions or random events to start affecting this perfect bubble of regulation. The more we support this bubble of regulation, the more that bubble becomes your worldly bubble. I hope that made sense. I have no idea if it did. If it didn't, let me know in person, maybe not in a comment, but hopefully that made sense. For our parents, it's not a journey about bouncing back or getting back to your body or feeling like you did before you had a baby. It really is about adapting to this new phase in life, this new journey, and having the access to constantly change and adapt as things change. Babies change all the time. They change every day. As soon as you think you're in a routine with them, something's going to shift. So if you can be in that adaptive state where no shift actually takes you down or drains your energy, you guys are going to be able to accomplish anything. You're going to be able to take the world by storm. I want to finish by one last piece of baby's point of view, saying, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm trying to find safety. Everything is new to me except for you. You are my home. You are my world. You are my guide. Your baby's perspective in those first 12 weeks is that they love you. They love you so much. They are so excited to be with you and around you and be with you. I think I just said that 2 times in a row. I don't know. They're excited to be with you. The 4th trimester isn't just a recovery period for your body. It really is a sacred time that your baby is still attached to you. When they feel like they're still on the inside of you, but they're on the outside of you, and everything is starting to shift and change in both your world and their world. It is 2 nervous systems and 2 hearts reconnecting as one every single moment of every single day, now that they are not within the same body. Again, this is not about getting everything right. It's about what's under the surface in your nervous system and in your baby's nervous system, in their ability to perceive the world and learn from you and adapt to new things. Nothing was new in the womb, and now everything is new. So they need to learn how to navigate and explore and experience all these new things, and they want to do it with you. They just want you to be you and for you to be there. And I can second that. Even at 28 years old, I just want my mom. I just want her presence. There's nothing that she has to bring or give me or do for me. I just love her being her. And I know that your baby will feel the same way about you. I say it lightly, but just relax. You're doing amazing. You're doing the best that you possibly could. Your baby would not want any other mom. They're so excited for you to be their mom and for life with you. So if anything, I hope this episode could be validating for you that you're not doing anything wrong. Your baby just cries a lot. They want you. It's an invitation for mom. I feel like I'm not with you. I feel like I'm alone. What are we doing here? If this episode was insightful or helpful in any way, please share with another mama to be. I had so much fun talking about baby's perspective in the 4th trimester. And if you have any comments or notes or experiences that related to this, please DM me, send me a message. If not, you can drop a like, comment, review, whatever feels good to you. I'm Dr. Emily, and you've been listening to the Popped Podcast.